Our policy is one which is called by an Afrikaans word apartheid. And I'm afraid that has been misunderstood so often. It could just as easily, and perhaps much better, be described as a policy of good neighborliness, accepting that there are differences between people. But while these differences exist, and you have to acknowledge them, at the same time, you can live together, aid one another, but that it can best be done when you act as good neighbors always do.
Apartheid in South Africa was based on the racial segregation between black South Africans and the white population. The main purpose was to ensure white supremacy even though the white population was a minority in South Africa. For example, the first apartheid law prohibited marriages across different races. This became the policy in South Africa after the 1948 election. The anti-apartheid movement's main focus was to oppose the South African apartheid system and to support South Africa's non-white population who were victims of the policies of apartheid. This movement was first founded as the boycott movement on June 26, 1959, at a meeting of those who have been exiled from South Africa along with their supporters. Their statement regarding its goal is, "We are not asking you, the British people, for anything special. We are just asking you to withdraw your support from apartheid by not buying South African goods." The Sharpeville massacre, a killing of 69 innocent protesters, caused the organization to be renamed to the Anti-Apartheid Movement. By renaming the organization from the boycott movement to the Anti-Apartheid Movement, it would now organize anti-apartheid work, emphasize South Africa's apartheid policy in British politics, and strive for complete isolation of apartheid South Africa. One technique of nonviolence present in this movement was the idea of boycotting, which can be seen through its original name, the boycott movement.
On the morning of March 21st, 1960, around 5,000 people gathered for an anti-pass protest outside Sharpeville police station. Organisers had informed police of the non-violent protest, and officers were able to move amongst the crowd without trouble. It was very much a gathering of ordinary people, grandparents, young men, middle-aged women, children, together as one people, not looking for trouble, but a better way. There was a happy mood within the crowd. There'd been talk of an announcement to be made, some good news about passes. The atmosphere was relaxed and festive, the people sharing stories and singing hymns. No one told them to end their singing. No one told them to go away. When low-flying Sabre jet fighters swooped overhead, the people thought it was a display. When 5 armoured vehicles moved in, they weren't concerned. And when police opened fire, for just a moment, they didn't believe it was real.
One example of boycotting was the boycott of trade against South Africa. Another technique was the formation of a rally, which took place on February 28, 1960, in Trafalgar Square. The anti-apartheid movement's first success involved South Africa leaving the Commonwealth of Nations, which is an organization made up of members that were previously settled in the British Empire. The anti-apartheid movement achieved its final success when South Africa held its first democratic elections, which constituted an election where all races could vote. And as a result, the first person elected was Nelson Mandela. This also caused the anti-apartheid movement to be renamed as AXA, or Action for Southern Africa.
The church looks at oppression on a group of people as an insult to humanity. This is evidenced by the quote, "There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Galatians chapter 3, verse 28. The anti-apartheid movement supports the goals of Christian peacemaking by striving for the equality of the South African people who are facing a loss of rights. One of the main goals of Christian peacemaking is to achieve peace by working for justice, and the anti-apartheid movement saw the unjust policies of apartheid in South Africa and sought them out in order to end them.